High above the streets of New York City stands one of the most famous skyscrapers ever built, the Empire State Building. For decades, millions of people have stepped inside its elevators without a second thought. You press a button, the doors close, and within seconds you're dozens of floors above the ground. But on July 28, 1945, something happened inside this building that would turn a routine elevator ride into one of the most terrifying vertical drops in all of history. An elevator would fall 75 floors, and against all odds, someone inside survived. This is the story of Betty Lou Oliver and the elevator fall that should have been impossible to survive. It was a foggy Saturday morning in New York City. Visibility was so poor that buildings disappeared into the clouds. At the Empire State Building, workers moved through the offices like any other day. Among them was Betty Lou Oliver, a 20-year-old elevator operator. At the time, elevators in large buildings weren't automatic like they are today. Operators like Betty stood inside the elevator all day, manually controlling the car, stopping at floors, opening doors, and helping passengers reach their destinations. It was a routine job. But above the Manhattan skyline, something had gone terribly wrong. At 9:48 AM, a B-25 Mitchell bomber flown by William Franklin Smith Jr. was navigating through the thick fog over Manhattan. The aircraft belonged to the United States Army Air Forces. Smith believed he was flying over the East River and was trying to locate LaGuardia Airport, but the fog had completely disorientated him. Instead of flying over open water, he was flying directly towards Midtown Manhattan. Before anyone could react, the bomber smashed into the 79th floor of the Empire State Building. The explosion ripped through the offices, sending debris and flames across multiple floors. Fuel from the aircraft ignited instantly, causing a massive fire inside the building. 14 people would ultimately lose their lives that day, but the disaster wasn't finished yet. When the bomber tore into the building, it severed critical elevator cables running through the shafts. Inside one of those elevators was Betty Lou Oliver. Moments earlier, she had been operating the elevator completely normally. Now, the entire system had been damaged by the impact. Workers realised the elevator might be unsafe, so Betty was instructed to take another elevator down to the lobby. She stepped inside, the doors closed, and then the cables snapped. The elevator began to fall. An elevator falling from that height isn't like falling in an open shaft, it's far worse. Inside the narrow shaft, the car accelerated rapidly, pulling downward by gravity with almost nothing to stop it. Floor after floor blurred past. 70 floors, 60 floors, 50 floors. The elevator plunged approximately 75 stories towards the basement of the building. If the car hit the bottom at full speed, survival would have been impossible. But something unexpected happened inside the shaft. When the cables snapped, they didn't simply disappear. The broken steel cables collapsed beneath the elevator, piling up at the bottom of the shaft. When the elevator reached the bottom, those tangled cables acted like a giant spring, cushioning the impact. The air pressure inside the shaft may have also helped slow the fall slightly. Even so, the crash was violent. The elevator slammed into the pit at the bottom of the building. Rescuers rushed to the scene, assuming there was no chance anyone inside could have survived. But when they pried open the wreckage, they found Betty Lou Oliver alive. Betty had suffered serious injuries, including a broken pelvis, broken back, and neck injuries, but she was alive. Her survival stunned rescuers and engineers alike. The fall would later be recorded in the Guinness World Records as the longest elevator fall survival in history. Even more incredible, after recovering from her injuries, Betty eventually returned to work at the Empire State Building, inside the very building where she had fallen 75 floors. Events like this are extraordinarily rare. Modern elevators are equipped with multiple safety systems designed specifically to prevent free fall. These include automatic brakes, overspeed gurners, multiple steel cables, and emergency buffers at the bottom of the shaft. These systems were originally pioneered in the 19th century by Elijah Otis, whose invention made skyscrapers possible in the first place. But in 1945, when a military bomber ripped through a skyscraper during wartime conditions, even those systems couldn't prevent the accident entirely. Today, thousands of people ride the elevators inside the Empire State Building. Most of them have no idea that one of the most terrifying elevator accidents in history happened inside these walls. An elevator falling 75 floors, a crash that should have been fatal, and one survivor who somehow lived to tell the story. The next time you step into an elevator and the doors slide shut, you might remember just how far down the shaft really goes. Because sometimes gravity wins, and sometimes someone survives. If you enjoy true disaster stories and dark historical events, consider subscribing for more, because history is full of moments that seem impossible until they actually happen.